we can just click here and drag, and this is going to be, you can see the little camera picture down here, and you want to click and drag to get your view. And this box is basically, if you look in the top left corner, it's going to be what you see. So you want to get everything enclosed in it, and that's your camera. And you can change the view to the camera view to edit where the camera is if you don't like it. Move it back so you can see everything if you didn't line it up right, like I did. You change the angle if you want, and probably move it back a little bit more. And that's basically, just create the camera view. And then now, instead of having a perspective view, this is our camera view, which now we can't really change because it's stuck in one place. So I'm going to delete our camera, but that's how you make a camera. So for now, we'll stick with not using cameras. Forces, this is the Space Warps tab, and we're not going to use that too much either until we get to the more advanced stuff, but it has gravity and particle bomb and just all these kind of more advanced crazy type things, and deflectors where you can take your object and make it so when other objects go near them, they deflect off them instead of just going through them, and just kind of a lot of different more advanced things there. Systems kind of the same thing, sunlight, daylight, but that's basically it. We're mostly going to stick with our geometry here, and our we might use a camera or two, and sometimes we use a space warp, but most of the time we'll just be using the geometry, and then we'll do a lot of modifying of it and such. So that's basically that. Most of the stuff about the command that we need to know. Next, kind of taking a step back from the command panel, just kind of navigating throughout all of our different viewports. That's what they're called. This is a viewport, this is a viewport. We got 4 viewports up right now. And to change a viewport, all you have to do is right click on the name of it and go to views, and you can pick, front, top, back, bottom, left, right, any type of different view that you like. But I'm going to leave it the way this is because this is kind of the default, and it's what I'm used to, and you'll probably get used to it as well. What else? The next step will be taking our different views and moving around in the window so you get a better look at things. And down here is our viewport navigation panel, this little area right here. And the first one is, of course, zoom, the magnifying glass, and click and drag to move in, click and drag to move out. Pretty simple. You can also just zoom by using the mouse wheel. You can also do zoom all, which basically moves all 4 windows at once and zooms them at the same time. Next down here we have zoom extends, which basically puts our objects completely so the window is full with our objects, and sometimes you don't want that, but sometimes we do. This is kind of a bit ridiculous, but a good point here is to, when you make a shape, it's just Control-Z to undo something that you did. But when you're dealing with your viewports and you want to change the view, you have to right click on the top left corner and go to undo your view change. So that's that. And you can also do zoom extends all, which does the same thing but for all 4 windows, and zooms them in to get kind of the full view of everything. See, I hit Control-Z there and I put the camera back because that was the last thing I did, but I don't want to do that. I want to right click on here and undo the view change. And that just did it for this one. You got to do kind of changed all of them, but we'll leave it like that for now. Next here is the truck camera, which is the correct terminology. Actually, it used to be called pan, but you can truck up and down, truck left and right, and just get to a different angle of looking at things. The other, this is strange. Why did it change on us? Well, regardless, this little guy down here, kind of like a planet, you're going to click on here inside the circle to get an orbital view of everything. And for the last one is the viewport what is it called? Vport Toggle maximize viewport toggle, close enough. And that basically, with whichever window you're highlighted on, you can click on this and it'll make it full view. And you click it again and it goes back. So that's basically it for our viewport navigation. Now, kind of just after creating our shapes, we kind of want to move them around and rotate them. So what we do is we're going to take our move tool here, make sure it's highlighted, we can click on an object. Basically what's going to happen here, there's going to be 3 arrows, and it's going to kind of create a little 3D box which highlights. This one is going to highlight. You can move in the Z and the Y direction. This bottom box is, the X and the Y, and this left panel of the box is the Z and the X. You can also just click on one specific direction to only move in that direction, which is, so it's pretty self-explanatory. And rotate similarly has, I gotta move here, I don't like the way it looks. Here we go. Basically it has similar aspects. It's got our, if you can see here, there's blue, green, and red, and those are going to be our 3 different rotations. So you can spin it around in the X, change the Y, and change the Z. Or I don't know if I had those right there, but you get the point. You basically just have your 3 different aspects of rotating. You can also click not on a specific line and get a more free rotate action. So that's our orbit, or our rotate, sorry. And our third transform tool is select and non-uniform scale. Well, it's select and scale, and there's 3 different ports. There's select and uniform scale, select and non-uniform scale, and select and squash. I prefer non-uniform scale. This is not really used that frequently, but if you need to make something bigger, you can always go back into the modifier, the modify panel, and go to the parameters and change it to what you want. But if you don't feel like doing that, you can, click in any 3 of these lines and change it to what you want. And then of course this little triangle, you get 2 aspects, and this is the other 2 aspects, and there's 2 aspects change in the center, gets you kind of all 3 at once. So that's basically your select and scale. Those are the 3 main tools you're going to use. Next, if you have an object and you want to kind of alter it a bit, there's a few things you can do. First off, what you can do is select it and convert it to an editable poly, which makes it not just a plain box anymore, but it has all of its aspects, like all the vertices, all the edges, borders, and the specific polygons. And you can do lots of different things, and this gets really advanced, but just one simple one you can do is select on a thing, and you can extrude it out or in and alter your object and click on a different face and extrude it up, and you can make lots of different changes here and just really end up with a whole new different shape. And extrude, you click on this face, and this is, we're doing it by polygon because here's a polygon, that's one, that's one, that's one. And you can also just do it by the border, or yeah. Oh, I'm wrong, sorry. I think polygon is the best way to do it. You can also bevel things, which, you know, does your kind of, gets it, angles it a bit, and pulls it in or out, and gives you a, you know, kind of a pyramidish type look to it. You can do tons of different things. You can also go to the vertices and change every bit of the vertices and move them around if you don't like where they are. So, you know, you can move it here, you know, move this one over here, and kind of just really change our shape into anything that we like. And you can get a lot more detailed and take some objects and kind of create kind of whatever you want. And now we have this kind of interesting looking, almost looks like a toilet. But as you can see, you can get into this vertex and change things and get to really detailed changes. So that's basically a big part of modifying. Another thing, if you got two objects and you want to kind of stick them together, or like say I want to put this cone on top of my new random shape that we made from the box, all you have to do is put it where we want. Well, and sometimes, that's actually a good point, if you are in a position to not be able to select something or it's not working for you, you can always go by to edit and select by, and you can select by color, or you can select by name. I usually do select by name, and it kind of has the default name for which they come up with, which you can always change right here on the modify panel. Well, right now I'm with the cone, and I couldn't really get to it, but now I can, and it selects it, which is great. Now I can move the cone, and let's kind of zoom extends all so I can get it to where I see where I want to move it, and line it up. Oh, no wonder it wasn't letting me select it. I forgot to let you know, when you're editing the vertices of the thing, of an object, you must always deselect and go just click on top of the editable poly. So now you can go back to selecting other things. That's why I was having trouble selecting it. And now, if we want, you know, to combine these